Welcome into our second episode of Across America Good News Edition. Welcome into my little studio, by the way. I'm Chip Brewster, a host with Nexstar Media Group. Someone after my first episode last week was like, we got to get you away from the green screen. And I was like, no, man, that's a real wall. So I figured I'd start this one by showing and proving that it is in fact a real wall. Anyway, for those who haven't seen this show before, highly likely, because this is only our second episode, we're similar to my sister program Across America, where we look at headlines from across the country being made by Nexstar Media journalists, our 100 plus newsrooms. Only on this one, we focus in on the good news. Some of the stories, for instance, that we're going to talk about in this episode: a teenage rodeo champion, a girl that uses her birthday for a good cause, a boy that has finally gone home after quite the journey, some new cinnamon rolls in the New Orleans area, a library doing something a little unique, and that last video you might have seen there, a robot that just likes to wander the streets every once in a while and you can interact with. But before we get to those stories, I want to begin with a couple who is celebrating their 100th. And I am not talking about birthdays.
Just blessed, that's all I know.
Gene and his wife Dorothy are blessed because they've been married for 69 years, have 11 children, 68 grandchildren, and just recently they welcomed in their 100th great-grandchild.
This is Gabriel Gene, named after Grandpa Gene, for being the 100th great-grandchild.
Logan, who's the 19th grandchild, now accounts for 4 of the 100 great-grandchildren and has always been inspired by her grandparents.
They're very dedicated to one another. A lot of sacrifice. Grandma when she was younger with all the kids, and Grandpa serving her now, for sure.
The Richards' massive family almost never had a chance to start.
Something interesting about Mom is she was originally thinking about going into the convent.
Well, she did go there for a couple of years.
And Dad decided, no, I think she'd be a good wife and mother.
And that turned out to be a great decision. And Dorothy's love for every last child, grandchild, and great-grandchild is always the same.
Grandma's always been very, very supportive of children and very excited every time you tell her that you're expecting, or if there's a new one. She's always had a pure love of babies.
So I can understand a lot of different comments might come to mind when you hear that story. For me specifically, it was just, what? Wow. Family gatherings must be otherworld with that family. I want to now move on to a story about a child of a different sort. This one a little bit older, a teenager that is doing some amazing things. He has been competing in rodeos since he was 6 and recently took home a national title. Check this story out.
Aiden Parker has been doing this since he was 6, and he's pretty good at it.
We won the national title at the junior high finals.
But he can't do it alone.
This is my good horse, Peach. She's helped me win a lot, and she's really been a blessing to us.
As Aiden Parker travels around the country competing and winning some pretty impressive prizes. Around 36 saddles and even a vehicle.
The Jeep was the really cool one.
How many saddles do you think you've won?
I think it's like 35.
35 saddles for 35 championships, ranging from junior high state championships to most recently a national championship competing against 250 contestants from 4 different countries.
But Aiden's not the first one in his family to saddle up. Rodeoing, it's a family tradition.
I started rodeoing, well actually horse showing when I was, I don't know, probably his age. And then as I got older and actually met my husband Randy, we started rodeoing. It was me and him and our 2 kids. Then Aiden came along and he decided he wanted to.
A legacy his grandmother, Rhonda Dobbins, is pleased to see Aiden carry on.
I'm just so proud of him. It's just every time he goes in, I'm super proud. I try not to miss a single time.
It's awesome. It's really neat.
In Bay Minette, Clancy Callahan, WKRG News 5.
Man, some of the stuff that I've seen a couple of rodeos, but not participated myself, and always impressed with the skills that the cowboys, cowgirls, rodeo competitors bring into that arena. Let me move on now to the West Coast, heading out to Portland, where there's a girl who, even at 8 years old, has seen her share of challenges, overcome them, and is now using those to not only inspire others, but help others. Check this one out.
At just 8 years old, Olivia Enders here has helped inspire 13 blood drives, including her 4th annual birthday drive and 3 others throughout the year. And tonight, we're finding hope in her call to save others.
That's my papa, and that's Vivi, who was here a little while ago.
Balloons, cupcakes, smiles all around. It might look like a regular birthday party, but for 8-year-old Olivia Enders, this celebration means so much more.
She's a good helper.
She is.
For 4 years, Olivia and her family have turned her birthday into a blood drive.
I like working this and watching people help give blood.
Giving other kids the same chance blood donors gave her.
What started off as just one drive kind of turned into lots of drives.
Diagnosed with leukemia at just 4, Olivia has faced chemo, surgery, and more than 20 life-saving blood transfusions from the Red Cross. What happened to all your hair?
I lost it.
Now in remission, Olivia can look back and live her life like a regular kid, full of energy, hope, and birthday wishes. But her mom hopes Olivia sees just how many lives she's touched and the difference she's made.
And it's something that I hope we can save someday for her so that she can look back when she's older too to see what kind of impact we made just in her name.
Sarah says this isn't just a little girl's birthday. It's a milestone celebrating Olivia's strength and the lives that saved hers.
There's not enough thank yous in the world to the people that are actually doing the donations.
The Red Cross says cancer patients, especially those with leukemia, use nearly 25% of the nation's blood supply, yet only 3% of Americans donate each year. If you'd like more information or to donate, we have a link inside this story right now on koin.com. In studio, Anthony Kostura, KOIN 6 News.
It is always inspirational to see someone, I mean, really of any age, but 8 years old, the things that she's gone through, and she uses her birthday to do a blood drive. Thank you, Olivia. We have another story now. This is another story of overcoming challenges, if you will. A teenage boy on a hike falls into a ravine, stuck there for 3 days. This next one goes through some of those details, but I promise there is indeed a happy ending with it.
You did it, dude.
13-year-old Cody Trinkle smiled, beaming as he steps foot outside of the hospital.
They took way too much of my blood for me to want to stay here.
It was July 27th when Cody went missing. His family searching frantically. He had fallen 240 feet down a ravine and laid there for 3 days before being found.
The up and down emotional aspect of everything, not knowing how he was going to heal.
With skull fractures, brain bleeds, and lacerations all over his body, Cody had to be placed in a medically induced coma for 11 days. His mom, Stephanie Neely, never left his side.
Today is just like one of those pivotal moments.
Never lost hope.
Focus on the positives, you know, even find like the small silver lining at the end of the day. For us, that's always been, hey, let's get you home as soon as possible so we could get Cody back to being Cody.
First in intensive care at Cardinal Glennon, Cody never dwelled on the negatives.
I can't really remember what happened after I crashed, so it's just like all I know is I survived, so that's the best part of it.
Next came rehab at Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. And his treatment won't stop here, with more physical, occupational, and speech therapies to come. But Cody's pushing forward in his recovery one step at a time.
He's a fighter, so just him having that will power to be home and be a normal teenage boy again, you know, that's what really drove him.
He definitely already sounds like a normal teenage boy again.
I'm gonna lay down on not a hospital bed. Maybe open the refrigerator, check my own food stock.
Reporting in Maryland Heights, Chad MIRA, Fox 2 News.
I love how that one ends because that is exactly me as a teenage boy as well. So happy to see you home, Cody, and really glad that everything has worked out and just some of the stuff that you went through. Okay, we have to take a quick break, but when we come back, if you're hungry, you might want to turn the show away because we are talking about cinnamon rolls, and I promise a little bit later in the show for, you know, this is an internet type program, the animal lovers out there, we've got some stories for you as well. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Across America Good News Edition, where we take a look at there's a ton of the good news stories being made by Nexstar journalists across the country each and every week. And I'll tell you, this one, the week leading up to September 5th, 2025, filled with good news stories. And I can never get them all in. So this is just a neat way to kind of, I don't know, you look across the country and it's like you're talking to a neighbor. So you see what's happening in someone else's backyard and just the amount of positivity. Anyway, as you can tell, I smile a lot on the show. A really great one for me personally to be able to take part in. I said before the break, if you're hungry, you might want to change away from this, and you're about to see why.
I would like, at an uptown bakery, what's up and coming is what's on a roll.
This is awesome. It's amazing.
Amazingly, on a cinnamon roll.
Guilty of being delicious.
Guilty of being delicious, absolutely.
The bakery belongs to New Orleans husband and wife, Matt and Kenyana Ratliff. After a career in the home care health business, the Ratliffs rewrote their own recipe. Now they've got a cookbook and a confession.
Time now to tell the truth.
I'm Kiana, and I'm a Cinnaholic.
I'm Matt, and I'm also a Cinnaholic.
Time now to figure out what that means. If I can figure out what that means.
It means what's coming out of the oven is more than honesty. It's a newfangled translation for the old-fashioned cinnamon roll.
It's an ooey gooey center with layers of flavor.
The kind of ooey gooey that's a blast from the past.
Yes.
And right into the future.
All the way.
They call the place, as they call themselves, Cinnaholic. If you come in,
my name's Jeremy,
and you confess that what's on your mind,
caramel frosted pie crumble,
is not on the menu,
Reese's,
you can create your own.
Oreo.
Look at you, you got the whole dessert buffet in one bite, or maybe a few bites.
Oh my God.
Behind the counter, it's pastry architecture in action, as they build them like little sugar-stacked skyscrapers, starting with the first floor, the cinnamon roll.
Tastes like heaven.
Every order is a tall tower of possibilities, with no eggs, no dairy, and no cholesterol.
And it's vegan.
Another satisfied customer. Breaking news, your cinnamon roll is vegan?
Shh, don't tell anybody.
With their team in tow, a Louisiana couple, married with children for 16 years, the Ratliffs, want to make a love connection for you. It's a date that could become a relationship with a real role model.
This is so good.
You're in love.
I'm in love. I'm in love.
Bill Wood, WGNO News.
And Bill Wood is one that pops up often when I look across the Nexstar network of good news stories. So for those down in New Orleans that watch WGNO, I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of his work. And you probably get hungry pretty often because a lot of the ones I've seen him do are food related. We're going to not so much focus on food, but a holiday now that really incorporates candy. Halloween, just around the corner. And the main reason I'm bringing in this next story is because I just think it's such a neat idea. So if I can help to spread that idea, which is coming from Spartanburg, South Carolina, then perhaps this will pick up in your neighborhood. Check this out.
It's not too early to start thinking about what you're going to wear for Halloween. Anderson County Library is making it easier for families to start shopping now.
Right now we have a little bit of everything. We've got anything from Dorothy and the Scarecrow to little baby outfits.
Jessica Clark is a mom of a 9-year-old boy.
Costumes are ridiculously expensive. I mean, I've seen them range from $40 to $60 or more for a couple of hours of wear.
For the third year in a row, Anderson County Library is hosting its pop-up costume shop. The library says it's a way for parents to enjoy the holiday without the stress.
I mean, my son has donated costumes to this project because kids need them. I don't want to spend this money, and some people can't, and some people have like 3 or 4 kids, and it just adds up really quickly.
This is a community-wide donation project. The library accepts all sorts of costumes all year round, especially closer to Halloween.
They're saying that this is a great way for them to clear out clutter. I mean, we've had grandparents that have them in their attic for years, and we've had a lot of people who were like, they weren't even sure they were going to participate in Halloween this year because of the cost of things.
The process is simple.
You just stop in anytime to the children's desk, drop it off with us, we'll catalog it, take pictures, and we have a little notebook that you can look through to avoid having to shuffle through all the sizes.
New or gently used costumes are accepted.
Obviously, if it's ripped or torn and it's meant to be, then that's great, but if it's not meant to be, maybe refrain from that one.
The costumes will be given out for free, and you can keep them once you're done.
Everybody can relate to this struggle, and everybody can relate to that last minute, I forgot Halloween was in a day and we have nothing to wear, so this is a great option for that as well.
Right now, the library is only accepting donations. People can come in and shop for a costume starting Monday, October 6th. In Anderson County, ERIANA Meadows, 7 News.
I've got about 20 that I want to send you right now if my local library doesn't pick that idea up, right? They wear it for a couple of hours. That's it. Anyway, still very cool idea, and talk about another way for the community to come together. So think about it. Maybe ask somebody in your area, your neck of the woods, if you will. Okay, we're going to Texas. You know what? I'm not even going to set this one up. Robot. Okay, that's all I got. Watch this.
He came out of nowhere. A charming cowboy hat wearing superstar.
Yeah, oh my God, you're looking like a total boss fam.
Rizzbot.
Yeah, always had the cowboy hat, sunglasses. He's always a very cool looking customer, the nice shoes.
Kyle Morgenstein met Rizzbot this summer and taught him how to dance.
We were teaching him some Lady Gaga dances and things like that.
Rizzbot spent several weeks with Kyle and the team at Texas Robotics. They used simulations and motion capture data.
You're moving its arm and guiding it through the motion, maybe the way you would teach a small child how to cook.
The moves were all programmed into Rizzbot and triggered by a man hidden nearby using a controller. But Rizzbot has to do some thinking of its own for those dance moves to sing. This is Spot, a four-legged robot built by Boston Dynamics.
Till a few years ago, it would be unthinkable to have a robot this complex and just be able to navigate, move around in the world so nimbly and dexterously.
Professor Joydeep Biswas specializes in robotics at UT. He says that bots like Spot and Rizzbot have the ability to handle a lot of the intricacies of movement themselves.
So it's actually doing a translation from like the high-level directional intent of the human to low-level joints, which all of the motors in this complicated robot can actually execute.
Including dance. The dancing is actually the whole point of Rizzbot. Kyle says the owner, who wishes to remain anonymous, is a trained biochemist who loves dancing.
His dream for Rizzbot is to be able to dance like him and to be sort of a group number where you've got robots and people interacting and dancing together.
It's a future that might be closer than it seems. In Austin, Eric Henrikson, KXAN News.
Before you know it, he'll be a staple at the local dance hall, two-stepping with the ladies and the guys. I'm sure Rizzbot is open for dancing with anybody down there in Texas. It's just cool, right? That's what a neat story. And how many places have robots that wander around, interact, and even dance? I'm glad you're watching so that you could see it right along with me. We're going to do one more story before we take a break and get to a couple of animal stories. This one, it's very timely given what's happening in the world right now, namely that the Powerball is at 1.8 something billion for a jackpot. So leading up to that, though, a group of teachers scored big. But here's the thing, really watch this story. It's not about this group of teachers winning money. It's about the group itself and what they did with those winnings.
Ashland County, Ohio, where a group of teachers has won $1 million on a winning lottery ticket bought here. But it's one of those teachers that makes this story so special.
We still can't believe that it happened.
Each week for the past 6 years, Karen Rader, a retired teacher from Crestview Elementary in Ashland, played the lottery along with 9 others from the school.
We've won $4 here, $4 there, and I would text everyone and say, well, we won $4, you know, or no winnings to report.
Our life-changing jackpot.
August 6th, with the Powerball at $451 million was no different. That is, until after the drawing.
And let's round it out tonight with the number 43.
I was talking to my daughter, Jill, and I scanned it on my phone, and I was like, oh my gosh. I think we just won $1 million.
It was really wild because she was like, I'm going to send you a text message to make sure that I'm reading this correctly. And I was like, that looks like $1 million.
Karen started texting everyone in the group she named future millionaires.
They couldn't believe it. They were like, no way, we finally won. And yeah, and they checked the numbers. They're like, oh my gosh.
One member of the group, however, was not there to celebrate. Mary Jo Minocchio passed away in 2021, but the group continued to make her contributions.
She makes me get a little weepy. She loved her kids, her own children, and she loved the children that she taught. She would send books home with them in their backpacks, just out of her own money.
Their guardian angel.
We couldn't forget her. Right. She's not here, but she's here.
Vacation.
So when the group won $1,004,004, there was never a question that Mary Jo's portion would be distributed among her 4 kids.
They're thinking about doing something as a family. Maybe some type of memorial or some type to, in their mom's memory, or, maybe take a family trip. And because that's what Mary Jo would have loved. She would have loved to have her family together. A
month later, with the Powerball jackpot eclipsing $1.7 billion, Karen says the group is hoping to strike it rich again.
Because I keep texting them, well, do you want me to keep playing? And they're like, yep, keep playing. So yeah, we'll play. Lightning might strike twice. Who knows?
In Ashland County, Ohio, Dave Nethers reporting.
Generosity at its finest. And the reason that it made it onto Across America Good News Edition. I got to take another quick break, but when we come back, 2 animal stories for you. The cats and dog lovers out there, it's your story. It's your set of stories. I'll see you on the other side of the break. Welcome back. Right before the break, I talked about this last block being the animal block. And that's how it was the first episode. Maybe if that's how this thing keeps shaking out, while I go through the stories from Nexstar, that's what we'll end up doing. We get an animal block, Good News Edition animal block every single week. So the first story I'm going to bring you is about a rescue that would not have happened, or at least not have had a happy ending, if it weren't for a little bit of technology. So it's a 1 part sad, 1 part happy, and I'm happy to bring it to you. It's coming from WHTM in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
This was the picture that sparked a dramatic search near Dillsburg. A dog spotted with a plastic tub trapped over its head.
Because I knew with a bucket on its head, it wasn't going to live much longer.
Gracie Franks, a volunteer with Canine Rescue of Central PA, says she knew this rescue was a race against time.
We knew for sure she had already been without water, without food, and her oxygen levels had to be severely reduced. Not only that, I think people don't really think of the fact that she was very susceptible to prey.
The dog was spotted in a thick cornfield. When volunteers couldn't find her by almost midnight, they called drone operator Dallas Furman.
When I was like, well, the dog isn't going to live probably by tomorrow, so I'm coming. And went up there.
Dallas owns Nighthawk Drone Services and can use his thermal drone to find anything giving off a heat signature.
Helicopters are amazing, but drones can go where helicopters can't, essentially. Super low, and they can get in very remote places.
We met at the cornfield, and he put the drone up, and it was, Ali, it was amazing. You could see field mice, you could see skunks, you could see birds sleeping in corn. It just gave us a view that we didn't have.
Dallas eventually spotted the missing dog.
Finally! Oh, my word.
And was able to help volunteers surround her.
Keep going, chase it right there. It's coming right at you, right at you, right at you. Did she get it? Did she get it? Oh my word, she almost touched it.
Until success.
Yes! Hang yeah! Oh!
It's okay, Bubba's.
I mean, it's pressure, but it is so fulfilling when we actually got hands on the dog and we knew it was going to be safe, and that's what it's all about.
And then they named the dog Dallas.
Yeah, and they named it after me for some reason, but it was flattering, to say the least. I was just glad to be able to help.
Without that drone, in the technology that Dallas had that night, we never would have found the dog. And that's why we named the dog after Dallas, because he truly did save the dog's life with his technology.
Technology that Dallas believes will become the new normal when trying to locate missing animals and even missing people.
It's amazing, though, technology is packed into those cameras, and I believe it's the future of search and rescue in a lot of ways.
Dallas is now recovering and being cared for by a foster family. They say she is doing well and should have no permanent health issues. The rescuers say they will almost always try to lure lost dogs with food inside a trap, but obviously in the case of this dog, she couldn't eat and probably couldn't smell either. Allie Lanyon, ABC 27.
Technology, am I right? Which actually is a perfect setup for our last story of this episode as it relates to technology, and this time, a cat.
Peter, I really want you to walk for us.
In true cat fashion, tell a feline what to do.
Come on.
And it goes running for cover.
Well, he's a cat. He does exactly what he wants when he wants.
Despite his bashful nature, Pete's story is meant for the spotlight.
He's got a pretty good future in front of him. Right now, he just wants to be a cat, but we are using him as a groundbreaker for other cats that are similarly situated.
In 2024, the Kirkland Foundation, a nonprofit animal organization, found him on the side of the road in dire need.
One paw was completely torn off and shattered, and the other one was mangled and had maggots in it and everything. And when we brought him in and we're working on him, he was purring, just like, thank you, right? So, okay, now we're in, right?
The loving kitty, who was only a couple of months old at the time, underwent surgery to partially amputate both of his front legs, hence the nickname.
No Feet Pete.
Kyle Kirkland connected with surgeon Dr. Scott Featherson out of Northern California. Featherson previously worked on an Italian basketball player's cat Vito, where they inserted prosthetic back leg implants. But Pete needed new front legs.
He basically took this on as a passion project too.
The surgeon took on the case pro bono. With the help of a 3D printer and online parts, braces were surgically installed and prosthetics were attached. Then Pete was walking again.
His first 15 steps with the new prototypes, I think everybody was, I don't think I was crying, but I think everybody else was.
The first pair was a little bit clunky, so it was back to the drawing board.
Come on, Peter.
A lighter prototype was created that Pete now wears today.
We're very proud of Pete.
Laura McComb planned on just fostering Pete on his road to recovery, but quickly fell in love with his warm spirit and decided to adopt the furry friend into her family. To see him be able to move around with these new legs, No Feet Pete becoming New Feet Pete, how does that make you feel?
It's beyond, right? This cat has such a heart. You know, we don't appreciate animals in the way that we should all the time, right? But for Pete, with everything that he's gone through, he still has so much love for everyone around him. He is so loving with all my animals and my grandkids and me.
I love it, and it's definitely the right way to end this episode of Good News, Across America, Good News Edition. I'm Chip Brewster, and I hope to see you on a future episode.